The Guns of Navarone is a 1961 war film directed by J. Lee Thompson from a novel by Alistair MacLean with a screenplay by Carl Foreman. It is what I class as the first in the Alistair MacLean war film trilogy, the first being The Guns of Navarone, the second being Where Eagles Dare 7 years later in 1968, and the final film in the trilogy will be Force 10 from Navarone, which was released in 1978. This film focuses on three main protagonists, the first being Gregory Peck, who plays a professional mountain climber, and he's been recruited to carry out this mission, to lead this mission, because he has to scale a cliff and lead a team of commandos onto an island in order to carry out a mission. So they've recruited his character because obviously he knows how to climb a steep cliff face. The second character is pacifist, but he's an explosive expert, and he's played by David Niven. They've recruited him because the mission requires a large amount of explosives, and he's the guy for the job. And the third protagonist is a character played by Anthony Quinn, who is an assassin, and he speaks numerous different languages. The three of them are accompanied by a group of ragtag soldiers who all have various shady pasts, but they're all expendable, so they've been recruited. The main two characters of Anthony Quinn and Gregory Peck have a bit of history between them, so that complicates the mission a little bit. But the story is, there is 2,000 British Allied soldiers stuck on an island off the Greek islands, and they are about to be rescued by 6 Allied warships who have been dispatched to pick them up off the island and to carry them to safety. However, the Germans have deployed 2 massive guns on the cliff face of a nearby island called Navarone, which is a fictional island. And these guns are poised onto the sea passage where these ships are about to come along. And if the 3 main characters with the group of commandos can't disable these guns in time, then the warships will be sunk and the Allied soldiers will be captured or killed by the Germans. So yes, the film is, it's an old film. It was done in 1961. It's about 2.5 hours long, but the pacing never drags or anything like that. There's always, every so often there is set pieces which keep the flow of the film going. For it being a film done in 1961, the special effects hold up pretty well today, especially at the beginning of the film where they're on a fishing boat and they're trying to navigate through a storm. There's thunder and lightning and waves crashing against the ship, and it all looks pretty authentic. It's very well done. Only a few minor occasions where it looks like it's done in a studio, but the model work's really good and it looks convincing. And then immediately after that, where they're trying to scale the cliff face, it's pitch black, dead of night, the rain's beating down, the cliff face is soaking wet. They're trying to scale this cliff with just a rope, and it's very well done. Also, it looks really convincing. Then from there, they have to sort of get to the main objective, but they have to sneak their way through enemy forces, which are always constantly on their tail. But the film is very good. It's, like I say, the pacing's really well done. The 3 main stars, the good actors, they were the pedigree of the time, the best actors around in those days, and all have a lot to do. Even the minor supporting cast have lots of things to keep them busy, so they're not like just secondary characters. They've all got backstories and they've all got like agendas and character growth and things like that. And the end of the film is very well done. It's the suspense mounts up, the tension is getting piled on and things like that. But yeah, it's the first in a trilogy. This was a film which I wasn't really aware of when I was younger. The second film in this so-called trilogy, which I've christened, is Where Eagles Dare, and because that film stars a certain Clint Eastwood, who I was a huge fan of when I was younger, and I still am as it happens, that was the film which I was really more familiar with, Where Eagles Dare. But my father says that there is another one which is like it, and it's called The Guns of Navarone, and it's by the same person who wrote Where Eagles Dare. So about 15 years later, when I was a bit more older, I decided to give The Guns of Navarone a go, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I had it on DVD at one point, and it was a very good copy, very good transfer, and I saw that it had come out on Blu-ray, and as I'm now replacing all my DVDs on Blu-ray, I thought I'd get it, and it was proved to be a good move because the picture and sound quality is far superior on the Blu-ray version. It makes the whole film a different experience, especially when you're listening to it in your surround speakers and whatnot. But yes, it comes with the, as you would expect, special features. It's got documentaries on, it's got audio commentaries and all that kind of stuff. But The Guns of Navarone, yes, it's a thoroughly enjoyable war film. If you haven't seen it, or if you have seen it, I would recommend getting the Blu-ray version because it's far superior. Not a lot more to say about it really. It's a couple of things which I think they could have done without in the film, but it's no big deal. I mean, I could see why they put it in. There's a scene in the middle where they're in a village on the island and the local people are singing, and they are like sitting around the tables outside of this cafeteria, and the soldiers join in, you know, the band of heroes all join in singing. And I think it was done because one of the members of the cast was a singer in real life, and he's pretty famous, so I think they've just put that in really just for whoever was managing him at the time probably says, oh, we want him to sing a song in the film, so they put it in. I mean, it does nothing for the film, and they could have cut that scene out, but I mean, it doesn't do anything to ruin the film. It's just, you know. And also in the novel, there was no female characters in the novel, but they've put two female characters into the film, which, you know, it's nothing to do with the story really, but, you know, I can see why they've added them in to maybe give it a bit more appeal to female audiences. But the two female characters, they are great characters, you know, and there's one of them's got a backstory which is pretty sad, and there's a few twists in the film, a few twists and turns, and, you know, keeps the story interesting. But yes, it's a thoroughly enjoyable film, and it's a great start to what I've called the Alistair MacLean war trilogy. The next one, I'll cover the next one, Where Eagles Dare, in another video, and that stars Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton. But all three of these films are really thoroughly entertaining, and I highly recommend seeing them. The music, not that it makes much difference because I don't think he's all that well known, is by Dmitri Toyimkin, whereas the other two films in the series would have music by people who are more well known. I mean, forgive me if the person who did the music for this film was well known, but I've never really heard of him. I've heard of John Williams, and I've heard of Ennio Morricone and other people like that, John Barry, but I've never heard of this guy who does the music for this film. But anyway, all in all, a thoroughly enjoyable film. If you haven't seen it, I'd thoroughly recommend it, and if you have seen it, this is a Blu-ray to get because it's really good. Brilliant. Okay, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you again soon.